Welcome back to the Be the Hero channel. I'm Isabel and I help you understand the stars so you can feel more clarity and control over your life. Today I want to talk about and elaborate on the series I've been doing about these paradox North Node placements, which is specifically in this video having your North Node in Scorpio in your second house. So for those who don't know much about astrology, this can be really simplistic and you don't see what the issue is or the paradox is here. But as you start to learn more about astrology, you see that this is kind of complicated because the second house is the opposing house to Scorpio's natural energy. So in this video, I'm going to break that all down. But first, make sure you hit the link in the description below to book your 1-hour self-revolution birth chart reading with me now. That's in the link in the description below. First off, before we go into specifically what it means to have a North Node in Scorpio in second house, let's talk about what the North Node is as a general gist for those who don't know much. The North Node is, simply put, our highest path to growth in this lifetime. It is opposing the South Node, which is our overused gifts and talents. Some say that the South Node really represents our past life karma and our North Node is our purpose in this lifetime, which I can very much agree with in the purpose sense, but it is not necessarily important to see it that way. The simplest way to see the North and South Node is the South Node tends to be the things we're already good at, and they can keep us limited in this lifetime. They keep our frequency lower because it's our comfort zone, whereas the North Node is what is unfamiliar for us. It is something we must learn, and by doing so, we elevate our frequency. So if your North Node is in if your North Node is in Scorpio, your South Node is naturally in Taurus. Now, in astrology, there are two different aspects to every placement in your chart, including your North Node, and that is the sign versus the house. The sign that your North Node is in represents the energies you're here to embrace, whereas the house it's in is where in life you need to embrace those energies. And each of the houses is representative of a different zodiac sign. So the first house is Aries, the second house is Taurus, etc., which means the 8th house is Scorpio. And so there's this natural energy tendency with each of the houses that is associated with a different zodiac sign. So to have a North Node in Taurus or North Node in Scorpio in second house can seem like a bit of a paradox because it's in the house of Taurus. Scorpio's energy is in its opposing house, and people can wonder, what does that even mean? I'm supposed to be more Scorpio and yet more Taurus at the same time? And that's not necessarily the truth. And to understand this difference is so impactful because it helps you really live in alignment with your purpose. Because I see so often people are learning about their North Node, including myself. I did this too. And we focus on the energies and we find it easy in a way to embrace our North Node. And the thing is, we're not usually embracing that energy in the right area of life. So for example, for me, I have a North Node in Taurus and I felt like I was nailing it. I was doing my routine. I was focusing on my physical health, and that was partially my North Node, but my North Node's in a different house, which means I need to focus more on comfort and grounding in my relationships and with my sense of play. So the difference is really in the fact that the house versus the sign it's in are two different things. And though they may be representative of Though the houses may be representative of different zodiac signs, they are not the sign itself. The house is the physical area of life. So the second house is representative of Taurus, but is not Taurus energies. It's just the physical material reality that we can draw from Taurus themes. So the second house is all about our wealth and worth. This is the house where we focus on our finances, how we like to manage our finances, as well as how we manage our sense of self-worth, what brings us a sense of self-worth. Scorpio energy, on the other hand, is all about depth and transformation. The 8th house, as a side note, is about intimacy, is where we share ourselves, whereas the second house is where we become financially and physically independent. So Scorpio energy, though, is all about depth and transformation. Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac, and it comes after Libra. And Libra is all about superficial connections. It's where we first start to introduce ourselves to people and put ourselves in other people's shoes. Whereas Scorpio is then where we go, how can we dive deeper into this? Scorpio is a water sign, and so they're very emotionally driven and they are fulfilled by emotion, hence why they are all about intimacy. And so Scorpio has this focus on looking at things deeper, to feel something deeper, to get vulnerable, to look into the mystery, to understand others and yourself deeper in order to feel deeper with life. So what does it mean to exactly have your North Node in Scorpio and yet in your second house? With the North Node in Scorpio, there's a focus on being less superficial in this lifetime. There is a focus for you on focusing less on material. You may be someone who tends to focus on physical comfort, and you feel sometimes maybe that the world is lacking because of it. You feel like your life is lacking because of it. So with your North Node in Scorpio, you are here to learn to be more deep and intimate with some area of your life, depending on what house it's in. And I think quite possibly the North Node in Scorpio is one of the most important houses, or one of the most important North Node placements to know what house it's in, because Scorpio represents depth, it represents transformation, and it represents intimacy. And nowadays in society, we often associate intimacy with just our physical romantic relationships. But intimacy is something that can be applied to every area of our life. We can be intimate with ourselves, with our friends, our family. Intimacy is the act of being close to people emotionally and being vulnerable. And so with the North Node in Scorpio, it is very subjective where you're supposed to be intimate in your life. It's so dependent on what house it's in. So if you have a North Node in Scorpio in your second house, you're here to focus on intimacy with yourself for your sense of self-worth. That is the simplest way to summarize the North Node Scorpio. If you have a South Node Taurus 8th house, which you would naturally have if you have a North Node 2nd house in Scorpio, with this South Node, you may be someone who focuses too much on cultivating physical stability, comfort, and commitment in your intimate relationships. You probably excel at cultivating your intimate relationships in a very materialistic way. You share your finances with someone, you guys both indulge in comfort, but you feel like there's something lacking, and that's because you've directed all your attention, all of your strong energies towards your relationships as opposed to relationship with yourself. So with the North Node in Scorpio in second house, there's a focus on becoming intimate with yourself to understand yourself and cultivate your sense of self-worth. You may find that with this North Node, South Node combination that you always feel like no matter how much physical comfort and physical security you provide yourself, you always feel that there's something lacking. And that is because you are here to do self-transformation work, to understand yourself, understand your wounds, to be intimate with your emotions, to tap into your feelings, to cultivate your self-worth. The other end of this as well is focusing on having independent finances to some degree. Now, that's not to say that you're supposed to break up with your long-term partner or divorce your husband or wife because they are sharing finances with you, but there's simply a focus on you have to feel that you're providing yourself a sense of something physical, some form of physical security that is not wrapped up in the other. And a sense of physical security can come from money, but it can also come from other things as well. Yes, the North Node second house does have a focus on cultivating physical wealth, but for the North Node in Scorpio in second house, it's less focused on actually acquiring money and actually using that money to provide yourself a deep experience with life, not with another, but by yourself. There's this aura of independence and this ability to learn to use your money and use your resources towards gaining emotional depth with yourself in this lifetime. So for you, that could mean providing yourself a physical routine and place of living and finances that allow you to be with yourself more often, to meditate more often, go to yoga, spend money on journals, do the things and use your physical wealth to promote depth and use your depth to promote your wealth. It is very possible, or let's rephrase that. with the North Node in Scorpio in second house, the North Node always brings us more abundance. The universe wants us to embrace our North Node. And so as we step into our North Node and elevate our frequency, we up-level our ability to manifest. And so with the North Node in Scorpio in second house, the more you focus on cultivating a strong sense of self-worth that comes from a place of self-understanding, and focus on independent finances and depth and intimacy with yourself, the more you focus on, in a way, maybe even potentially obsessing over money for your own sense of stability, the more you can manifest wealth into your life. And so it could simply be that focusing on yourself brings you more money in, and that you may put too much energy into your intimate relationships and providing commitment and security in those. So if you have a North Node Scorpio, second house, it is all about the self-transformation work. And that is how this paradox plays out. So often I see people with specifically this axis of the Taurus Scorpio placement with the second house in the 8th house. So if you have a North Node in Taurus in 8th house or a North Node in Scorpio in second house, they feel very, very confused by what they're supposed to be doing, simply because there's this psychoanalyzing energy that comes with the Taurus Scorpio axis, whether it's having 8th house as your south node or having Scorpio as your south node. Specifically for the Scorpio south node, people tend to psychoanalyze things, and I know because I have this placement myself. So there's a focus on, either way, keeping things simpler, even if you don't have a Taurus North Node, because you tend to look too deeply into things instead of doing the things you need to do. Even if you have a Scorpio North Node, there's a focus on actually doing the task of intimacy with yourself, task of self-transformation, making time to sit down and understand yourself. So if this video helped you understand what it means to have your North Node in Scorpio in your second house, let me know in those comments below. And if you still have more questions on this placement for yourself, then please, I highly recommend you book a 1-hour reading with me in the link in the description below, where we can dive deep into your chart, as well as help you understand placements you don't understand, or even just use your chart to recreate your reality, manifest abundance, manifest your dream career, manifest the dream partner, whatever it is, we can talk about it in this 1-hour reading. So book it in the link in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos breaking down these paradox North Node placements. Once again, my name is Isabel, and from my heart to yours, namaste.